Hi and welcome to my maths class. Today we're going to look at questions. These questions are more or less how the exam questions look for the final matric exam. Now the question says the drawing is f of x is equal to 3 to the power of x. So the red line is 3 to the power of x. Then it says write f inverse in the form of y is equal to. We must take the original f of x is equal to 3 to the power of x. We must now do the inverse. We know y is equal to 3 to the power x. If I do the inverse, it becomes x is equal to 3 to the power of y. But they want y the subject of the formula. So we're going to now use the log rule. Log, our base is 3x, is equal to y. So you've made y the subject of the formula and you've answered the question. To write it absolutely correct, would be advisable to write it as f minus 1x is equal to log base 3x. Now, they say then, sketch the graph of the inverse and the inverse of x minus 2 on the grid provided. Now, when they give you the grid in the exam paper, what they would do is they would clearly mark the x's and y's with the Cartesian plane, and they would show you a grid like how we have it here with the dotted lines. Now that makes it much easier because we know the inverse means that I must go over the x is equal to y line. So by copycatting the diagram, it's easier to draw. We know it should be on 1, so the opposite would also be 1. If x is 1, y is 1. If y is 1, x is 1. Now look at the second point. If you take more or less a point around there, we know x is maybe 3/4 and y is 2. Which means now that x would be 2 and y would be around 3/4. And then if you look further, then we know that x is 1 and y is around 3. So we know x is going to be 3 and y is going to be around 1. Now if we continue with the line and we join the dots, we've drawn the inverse. F of x, the inverse is equal to log base 3x. Now look at the next question. Now the next question is saying x minus 2. Now what do we know about x minus 2? It means that the graph is moving 2 units to the right. So this specific point of 1, if it's going to move 2 units to the right, I'm now going to have it at 3. This specific point here, it's going to move 2 units, so we're going to have it at that point. So we're just counting 2 units, 1, 2. So we know this is our 1 point, we know this is our 1 point. If we take this point, we know it's around a quarter, so we say 1, 2, no, it's going to be around there. Now, all you have to do is join the dots. You see, they're not testing if you know how to draw it without any information. They're saying, do you understand that it's just moving 2 units all the time towards the right? That is what they're trying to see. Now, once you've drawn the drawing, look at the next question. It says, use your graph to solve for x. So they want the answer in an x form where f inverse of x minus 2 is less than 1. What are they talking of? When they are talking of f inverse x minus 2, they mean y. Where is y less than 1? But which graph? This graph. Where it's f of inverse x minus 1. Now if we were working with the original graph, if we were working with f inverse x, we would have said that it would be from 0 to infinity. Now why do I have round brackets? You see, on the original, on the blue graph that you're looking here, there is an asymptote. From your grade 11 work, you should know that the x-axis is an asymptote. And if it is an asymptote on the original graph, then where x is equal to 0, if that is an asymptote for the original graph, then for the inverse, y is equal to 0 becomes an asymptote. So we know for the original graph, which I'm talking of green now, it's going to be 0 to infinity. But what's happening to our graph? It is moving 2 spaces. So it is now going to be 2 to infinity. Again, round brackets, because the 2 is actually an asymptote. Thank you for watching.